Hello everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Cannon Tactics Board. Stephen Bradley here, bringing you the tactical tweaks and quirks that came from Arsenal's, well, paddling, frankly, of Brentford yesterday. It was 2-1, but it could have been 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, especially with the performance of the first half in the Premier League encounter yesterday. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll go over how Arsenal were able to pick apart Brentford's press, how they were able to get Saka and Smith Rowe into positions of advantage, and just how they were able to stop Brentford from attacking at all, really. If this video is something that you like, please hit the like button. Any sort of support helps us. If these videos are something you want to see in your inbox on a regular basis, hit subscribe and then the little bell after it, and you'll be notified when a video comes up. Sorry this video didn't come yesterday. Storm Eunice has played havoc with my normal job, where we've got games being called off across the Midlands, so scrambling and going live, etc, etc. But we're here, and where to begin? I mean, this, as I said at the start of the video, was a paddling, and it was a paddling for two reasons. One, Arsenal just immediately put their foot on the accelerator and didn't stop running for 90 minutes, or at least 77 minutes, until they scored the second goal. And Brentford just weren't given an opportunity to catch their breath. They weren't given a chance to set up passing routines of their own, get into patterns of play of their own, so that they could get a foothold into the game. Arsenal just didn't give them a chance. And the second reason why Arsenal were able to just steamroll Brentford was that Brentford's press wasn't great. It was in theory good, but in practice just not very well applied. And as you can see here, Brentford started with 5-3-2. And what I want to show you today is this shape that Brentford's midfield and forward line is in. It is a pentagon. It is your five-sided shape, and this is on purpose. This is designed so that if Tierney gets the ball, they close in like this. And the idea is that you stop as many passing lanes as possible, but also if the ball goes over here, Jensen can go over here, Norgard can go over here, Mbeumo comes in, and De Silva comes in, and you still have this shape. And it can rotate. It can go like this, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're always in this shape. You're always in this position where Tierney, if he tries to pass the ball to Xhaka, he's there. Mbeumo is there. Jensen is there. And De Silva is there, is on Partey's back, and Norgard comes over here. And then again, if he wants to pass it wide, then Canis can come down. In theory, this works. Because it cuts off lines and it makes teams play long, because they don't want to play into, a press. They don't want to play into the middle of this. In practice, this didn't work at all, because that's exactly what Arsenal did. Arsenal just passed into the middle of it. The amount of times that, as I get this back to where it was, Jensen there, and Mbeumo there, Risa there, and Josh De Silva there. The amount of times where Brentford would be too close to their man, with Norgard sitting deep, just as almost there, just to try and keep an eye on too many people. Because Silva was too far over to Tierney, and because Jensen was too far over to Cedric, Partey would just be there and have 20 yards of space. And as soon as De Silva and Jensen and Norgard would close in, the ball's already gone to Xhaka and Odegaard, and the press is broken. And this happened again and again and again. Tierney wanted to get the ball to Xhaka. De Silva was here. Norgard would then have to come to Xhaka, but Xhaka would come all the way over to the left-hand side, which would attract Canos, and then Smith Rowe is here. Bang. If Nico Henry wanted to close back on Cedric, the ball from Partey, because Jensen was already there, the ball to Partey was on, the ball from Partey to Odegaard was on, and Odegaard got the ball time and again here, with Nico Henry rushing back. And our good old friend the heat map will show this in spades, because someone pointed out in the last video that it's not a good idea to have a U shape here, and And when we were playing the last game, we ended up with a lot of possession here, a lot of possession here. And the question he was asking is that usually when I point this out, it's usually a criticism. But the difference between those games and this game was this line here. It's only faint, but it's there. It's because Arsenal were able to get the ball out through that pentagon here. You can see there it is. You can see how they are passing around it. Because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. They just knocked around it. And then to Odegaard especially here. And if we click on Odegaard himself, I mean, like, Odegaard had one of his best games for Arsenal just because he was given so much space here. And the fact that when Brentford would press with these 5, the backline didn't engage. The backline wasn't trying to push up as far as possible, like Liverpool do, like City do. So that even if Arsenal get the ball here, the backline is here to clamp down on them, and there's no real, that's how you build pressure. You get them in here. With a backline that was always playing deep, and Norgard being asked to both be the back pivot of a press and to almost, cover this space as well. Now he's good at it, but that's asking an awful lot. He was just given too much to do, and as a result, every time he'd go to the right, try and cover this off, Xhaka would get the ball here, and Smith Rowe would be in. If he went here, Odegaard would be in, and then Saka would be on his way. And Arsenal just kept this up over and over again, because the only ball, even with Arsenal pushing up, whenever Brentford did get into some sort of 5-3-2 to try and keep them out, Jensen wasn't doing a good job at all marking Odegaard. Odegaard was able to get by him again and again. Nico Henry was too worried about Cedric doing this. He should have been worried about Saka. Also, Henry and Canons were too preoccupied with getting on a counter-attack. They were too willing to, they were almost hanging around here, which meant Tierney had the freedom of Islington, basically, to draw Christopher Ayer out, which gave Smith Rowe. And then Saka would stand here, Pinnock would get drawn over, and Odegaard and Cedric would be here with Henry and Jensen trying to catch up. So poor Pontus Janssen, he's there standing around going, what do I do? What do I do? Because Lacazette's not running into the box. Lacazette's holding back. So he's like, ow. So even when they got pinned back, Arsenal were still able to find these half spaces over and over and over again, to which Brentford had no answer for. They were too, if for argument's sake, Xhaka would have the ball here, Smith Rowe would be here. What they would try to do is close up. Is just try somehow to try and get Arsenal pinned in this side of the pitch. And what would happen was Lacazette would come deep, Norgard would be now here. Well, he'd be here, and Jens would be here. And they'd be just trying to keep Arsenal in here. And it'd be 1, 2, 3 passes, and now Odegaard here has the ball, waiting to play Saka in down here. Which meant they'd have to go all the way back. But by the time they'd done this, Odegaard had already realised what they were doing, and he'd swept it out wide to Tierney. It was just a manipulation of Brentford's unwillingness to press, unwillingness to actually commit to either sitting back and just letting Arsenal pass in front of them, or pushing out. And that meant that Arsenal were basically camped here, which is why you've got so much ball here. But of course you've got little, outlets here, because Tierney was able to get down here so much again. I mean, there's your left back. With Xhaka at the same time. Like, Arsenal were just camped on the wings, just able to knock the ball around this backline again and again and again, because Nico Henry, whenever he got the ball, he was getting it here, but he was trying to get out. He wasn't trying to defend. He's an attacking wingback. He's not a defensive wingback. And so Arsenal would always pretty much have a 3-on-2 here, where there was Jensen trying to make space by trying to sneak out, leaving it 3-on-2. Norgard too worried about Lacazette, De Silva, trying to make up for this 3-on-3. Arsenal were able to find overloads again and again. And for the full first half, it was ball in there or ball in there for Tierney and Saka. And Arsenal were putting in cross after cross and getting corner after corner and chance after chance and penalty shout after penalty shout and handball after handball, and they did everything but score. And the only thing that changed from the first half to the second half was that Smith Rowe got the ball here and took full advantage. Maybe he was told it in the first half, but he took full advantage of the fact that Canos, De Silva and Ayer did not want to tackle him. They were too passive. They were too reliant on someone else to do the job. And as a result, he just went this, bang. It's really as simple as that. When no one wants to commit, keep running. When no one wants to push up and actually sticking a foot in, just keep running. And Ayer was too worried about Tierney and Jacques behind him, and so was Canos, and so was De Silva, and Janssen still worrying about a pass to Lacazette that no one committed to actually trying to get the ball off Smith Rowe. So Smith Rowe just did the simple thing. Beat one man, cuts inside. Janssen finally realised, he's going to shoot here. Smith Rowe does the smart thing, hits it round him, and it's 1-0. And that was almost the game. Like, Arsenal were just really, really ruthless in picking out the spaces in Brentford's press that Brentford had little to no chance to get the ball out. And when they did, Arsenal did what Brentford wouldn't do, which was commit numbers. So even on goal kicks, what Brentford tried to do was hit Canos or hit Visa here, basically trying to get 2-on-1s on Tierney. And David Raya missed again and again and again. Balls would end up here, one ended up here. Like, it wasn't very good. But even the times when Brentford were able to get a few passes together, they'd look up and it's like, well, where's the long ball? And it would usually be to Wisa, and Gabriel would just do this, shove him off the ball and go off, and Arsenal would push immediately forward again. And just pin these players back. And to say, no, you're not running. Yet they kept trying to leak out. And anytime a long ball got in, Arsenal were immediately able to get back. Xhaka had one of his best games, frankly, as an Arsenal player in recent times, because he was just doing this. Again, we go to his heat map. He's there, but as you can see, he's in and around here as well. He's covering a lot of ground with Odegaard here and Partey here. Xhaka has just been asked to cover this bit, which is a huge difference. Now he's running from side to side, and that's grand for him. It's when he has to go back where he's got trouble. But when he can read everything in front of him, suddenly he becomes a far better player. And any time a ball got, spread out the wing, he was just there, and it was getting intercepted again and again and again. And as a result, Brentford, there you go. Like, it's one of these situations where Brentford could do nothing except just give the ball to the goalkeeper and hope that he could lump it long. And Saka's goal for the second came about from Thomas Frank trying to fix this. Because with Smith Rowe off the pitch, Saka now left wing, and Smith Rowe replaced by Pepe. It was now Saka on the left wing, and this 5 at the back was now 4 because they'd asked Janssen to basically play CDM. To basically come forward, let Norgard come, basically join in the 3 and try and push. Now it's not this pentagon. Now it's this pentagon with a dot on top of it, basically. And now Norgard can push forward a bit more because he's got Janssen as well. And then the back line finally starts to push up. Problem is that when Arsenal countered, Janssen is still with Lacazette, and Lacazette kind of fouls him, doesn't really. And Partey runs on the ball, and it's 3-on-2. And Partey waits and he waits and he waits because it would have been so easy to try and find this ball or this ball, but those aren't going to score goals. Like those are going to, and then it's going to be a cross, and then you're complicating the thing. What Partey has to do, he has to wait until one of these two commits, and he waits until the last possible moment, and then Ayer does, and then he slips in Saka, and Saka scores. A brilliant finish, a powerful finish, something that I wanted to see from Saka a bit because he's awful fond of side footing shots in with placement. This one, he just thrashed it into the bottom right hand corner. If he can do that a bit more often, happy days. But this was just, like I said, this was just Arsenal finding the weaknesses in Brentford's system and repeatedly taking advantage of it. You know, like I said, this is your classic 5-man pressing system. Right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 12 months ago, they wouldn't have passed that ball there because nobody would have wanted it there. Now, it's a key part of their build up. Now, it's integral to their build up because they want this. They want the press to come in and they want this player to either beat the press or pass out of it and then make it 5-on-5. And the amount of times Arsenal were able to do that yesterday was incredible. And this is now, I imagine, with Partey here and 2 number 8s basically, this, I imagine, will be the Arsenal setup for most games. You know, most games that they expect to win. Whether they play like this against, you know, a City or a Liverpool or a Chelsea or someone like that, they might still revert to 4-2-3-1 just for a little bit of extra solidity. But for games they want to win, get used to this because it's working. That was it, basically. Like I said, nothing too fancy, nothing too intricate, just Arsenal running Brentford off the pitch and passing through their press. It's sometimes games are simple like that, you know. Sometimes it doesn't need a tactical tweak or a quirk. Sometimes you can just, you know, get into your system, be confident in the way you play, and you steamroller teams. And this is the first time Arsenal have steamrolled a team in a while, and we could get used to watching it because with Tottenham beating City last night, the margin for error is slim. There is a margin of error there, but it's still slim. You know, I think over the last couple of weeks we've been spoiled by watching everyone else around us not win, and occasionally they are all going to win, and this weekend looks like it might be one of those. So, yeah, take these wins while you can, and hope you can build on them, because if they can do this to Brentford against Wolves on Thursday, then fourth is a lot closer than maybe even us more optimistic people might think. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. If you saw something that I didn't see, whether it's, you know, Xhaka now becoming allergic to the captain's armband for some reason, or little things like that, leave a comment down below. We've got a great community of intelligent and enthusiastic Arsenal fans and just football fans in general who just like talking football. Get involved, get in the group, and yeah, bring on Wolves on Thursday. We'll see you then, viewer. Cheers.